So we're just gonna play with the new style and see how it goes. Oh god, this might kill me. I'll be right back. Hello and welcome on in. I'm T4 and today we're gonna start on my tech district. I have a little bit of work to do, so let's get into it. So first things first, I need to actually have concrete delivered to my building supply. It took me this long to realize, well, I mean, not realize, but get sick of running up here to my little concrete factory. So I'm gonna switch that up, actually make it produce concrete at a decent rate and have it properly delivered. Let's get that going. So I'm not gonna lie, I spent far longer than I want to admit trying to figure out how to turn this into a realistic concrete place. I mean, I'm not gonna get it, but I do know just from personal experience that most concrete facilities are all outside. So I'm not too worried about giving this a proper like roof or walls or anything like that, at least for now. I'm sure eventually I'll decide on like a finished style for this building, but for now I've got 2 inputs running at 240, and then I just fed them into 11 machines so that I could actually produce concrete at faster than a snail's pace. And of course, we've got our sink here so that when things back up, as they inevitably will, I can keep producing and not go down in production. Because, you know, we want to keep our machines running as much as we can. And then, as per usual, I just got my little factory car making my deliveries to my building supply. And if I ever need more concrete than that, it's set up and ready to go, so I just got to set up the trucks for it. So now let's move on to something else I've noticed, which is I need more copper sheets because for some reason I just can't produce enough. So let's go sort that out. So back in episode 2, I redid my steel production and I ended up with extra copper ingots because I'm producing stators over here as well. So I actually have a truck station here that's just, I mean, it's not the most productive rate. I have a smelting blueprint up there doing 240 a minute. These guys are only using up, what is that, 15, 30, 60, 60. So the machines on the inside of here are only using up 75 ingots per minute, which means the rest of that can all be turned into sheets. So I'm gonna set up a truck route and a factory so that we can bring those into the city and start making the copper sheets I'm gonna need for all the tech stuff that we're about to get into. Okay, so I've decided to start expanding that way a little bit. I did mention in the last video I was gonna try and stick all my tech between here and my new oil district. So I'm gonna go beside the blueprints. If you look just right there, I've already started. So if we look just right there, I've already started the factory. And I'm just gonna switch up the style a little bit too. And I'll show you what that means. By switching up the style, what I mean is so far all the factories I've done have been truck station and machines all on the same level. Things get dropped off at the truck station, then pushed out the back into the factory to be built into whatever they're building. Side note, I need to speed this up or make a new factory for it, but we'll touch on that later. But with this one over here, I've decided to go more up than out, I think is the proper way to describe it. So all I'm doing is we've got our truck station, which of course is off of a blueprint, and then I just edit the walls and stuff so that it's a little different each time. But I'm coming up and then, you son of a bitch. But I'm coming up and then making whatever I need to make this time around and then sending it back down to the truck station for pickup and delivery. And I just feel like this is a little bit closer to what you would actually see in an more modern style production, just because I want this new section here to be a little more up than flat. Like I've got my industrial district here and it's a lot of flat buildings. You know what I mean? So far with my industrial district, everything is flat. It's one level other than that factory over there, but it's way over there. So I didn't really consider it the same district. So I used a different style. So I just wanted to switch it up as I expanded into a new district, the tech district. I just wanted to switch it, make things a little bit taller, because we all know tech buildings like to be tall and made of glass for some reason, offices and whatnot, right? So we're just gonna play with the new style and see how it goes. Oh god, this might kill me. I'll be right back. Alright, so this is the finished product. As we can see, the truck's coming in with my impeccable driving style to drop off our copper ingots for us. I just realized the sign has the wrong picture on it. I'll fix that in a second. So as we can see, the ingots come up and go into the machines. If I remember correctly, when I set this up, I set it up to be efficient at 240 a minute, which means there will be machines down every so often because I'm not producing ingots at 240 a minute. However, at least for the first couple of loads, every machine is going to be filled until the production line catches up to the supply. I've got loads being produced finally, and they're just being sent down to the truck station down below. So now I just need to actually start using them up, but this makes me feel a million times better because if we look at my original supply of copper sheets, which is over here in like the very first thing I built for this area, which this particular truck station is supplying my building supply, as well as my AI limiters, and as we can see, there's like nothing in here. It's always empty. So I definitely needed more. And now I have it. I have an entire factory dedicated to it. So I feel a million times better and much more prepared to keep moving forward. So let's do that. So I know I talked about expanding closer to the oil district, but I had this hole here that I wanted to fill. Otherwise, my temp holding is just gonna be a sore thumb. So I'm going to try and surround it so it doesn't stick out so much. So I'm going to throw my circuit boards in here and continue with the style that's here, the flat building that's more industrial, but that's okay for one or two buildings, right? So we're producing circuit boards here, and I'm going to do what I can to still keep this a little bit different, a little bit more techy, but still industrial districts. Let's hope I can pull it off. And yes, I know I should be using more blueprints, but I'm kind of avoiding using like generic walls, generic wall blueprints and things like that because no two buildings are ever the same, and if they are, as soon as you see them, you go, ugh. So I'm trying to avoid that feeling when you look at this city. All right, so I got my side street built up for the pickup. I've got the delivery set up here. One side's delivering plastic, and then way down there on the other end, it's delivering the other components that are needed. If I could remember what they were, I would tell you right now. I'm gonna go check. Oh, the sheets. Of course it's the sheets. That makes sense. And then the pickup in the middle. So I'll show you what the actual factory looks like now that it's almost done, and I just gotta figure out a roof style. So all we've got is everything coming together in the center to be sent out to wherever it needs to go. I think the first thing is going to be a computer factory once I'm ready for it. But I just have everything coming in. It is being fed from opposite sides, so it's kind of giving this slightly backwards from the center out production happening because you got plastic coming in from one side and sheets coming in from the other. So it's not very efficient, and I wouldn't recommend this on a regular basis for anybody, but I'm not normal and I like to do things in the most complicated way possible. Also, I didn't know elevators could go this short, but when they snap to something, they go pretty short, and I actually kind of like how compact it can be. So I think I'm going to use it more in the future if I remember that this is a thing. As for the walls and the ceiling, or the roof, I'm gonna try and keep it open because, like I've said before, more techie buildings, at least in my eyes, equals more glass. So I'm gonna let in as much natural light as I can. Still gonna have to use a bunch of signs and stuff for light, but I'm gonna let in as much natural light as I can, just because that's the way my brain works and it feels appropriate. Okay, so it's a little hard to tell from here, but I've decided to go with basically an all glass roof. And I think I'm gonna keep the beams red, because so far, other than on my building supply, I've been highlighting either the walls or, oh, that one doesn't have beams. I need to finish that one.
like I've got opposite colors on these two, so I figured this one I would just leave it all red and we'll see how it looks. I need to get like a splash of different color in here at some point. Maybe I'll put a building over here that's like purple or something just to switch it up. I don't know, we'll see. But let's look inside and see what you think. Alright, so here on the inside, I don't have my usual catwalk, but I do, this is what the roof looks like, right? So it's load of natural light coming in, we've got loads of glass. I love this ceiling, I don't know why, I love it. But yeah, this is what I've done for the circuit boards. And I would do some math for you, but I really don't feel like it. And if I remember correctly, I set this up to be efficient for plastic. Yeah, because plastic is the heavier one. So if I get the proper supply of plastic, being 240-ish a minute, we will produce 60 circuit boards a minute. So let's hope that we actually get a decent amount coming out of here. I know if I actually went through and purposely set things up to be efficient, I would get what I want, but if you haven't learned yet, efficiency is not exactly my strong suit, but it still produces pretty good, so I'm happy with it. And it's only been running for a couple of minutes now, and we're already up to 105, plus I think if I check my building supply, I've already had an okay amount delivered. Either way, let's move on to the next. Alright, so last and certainly not least, remembered I do have a space elevator that I need to start supplying. So I decided to make a factory just for these frames. I forget what they're called. So I decided to make a factory for the versatile framework so I can start working on my elevator parts again. And as with everything else in my city, the elevator parts are being delivered via truck, built over there for right now, and then being delivered via truck here. I'm already up to 1231. I was at 900 in the last clip, so I'm sure some of you noticed the difference anyways. And this is pretty simple. I just made a box, slapped in a truck station, and it's just gonna be a nice simple delivery straight in. There's no need to really explain what's going on here. Anybody who understands Satisfactory understands what's going on here. So that's pretty much it. I don't think there's too much else to show off in this episode. I guess at some point soon I should probably do a city tour for the new people coming in that haven't seen the city yet. But for this one, I decided to give it a little bit more glass. I'm gonna stick with this elevated factory setup that I've got going on. So I've got my 2 delivery points on this side, and then over there is the pickup. I wanted this to feel more like a garage, purely for driving. There's no misunderstandings what the point of it is for. And then we've got the stairs out front so that you can come up and actually see the factory. And I decided to go with these lights instead of like my usual, I think it's green and white and everything else, just to switch it up. And I think for now this is good enough. And once I start moving forward with, I think the computer factory is going to be next so that I can unlock my logistics. It's probably going to go right here or over here. And I'm going to try to remember to make it at least 3 stories, whereas I would consider this 2 stories. Because I'm going to have to put in some of these bad boys. And I haven't used any of them in this playthrough yet. And I forgot how much space they take up. So it's going to be interesting to see how I manage to work that out, because I don't really have a plan yet, other than knowing the fact that they need space. And I mean, 4 deliveries, 4 truck stations for deliveries, and then 1 truck station for a pickup. So I'm going to have to play with the style, see what I like, and see how we work it out. But as we can see, these take up a little bit more room than everything else I've been using so far, right? Like it's double the space. So it's going to be interesting. And I also can't expect too much in terms of production because it uses a lot of material, mainly screws and circuit boards. So it's going to be interesting to see how I work it out. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Thanks for hanging around this long. I'm T4. Don't forget to click all that crap down below. It helps me out ever so much more than you know. Don't forget to click the notification bell as well so that you know when my new episodes come out. I'm currently in the process of both Satisfactory and Valheim. And my next Valheim episode, I actually touched the Mistlands after 8 months of working on the playthrough. So let's get into it. I'll see you later.